My therapist asked me today what I thought of my doctor saying that I was potentially bipolar. And I thought about it for a few seconds, and honestly, the idea, it doesn't scare me. I'm not afraid of labels or diagnoses. I guess that's the plural word for it. I'm not afraid of a diagnosis. And I know a lot of people are, and it's perfectly okay and reasonable. Because, I mean, it's not like you want something to be wrong. And there's still a lot of stigma attached to certain things, such as bipolar disorder. But for me, I've never been really worried about having a label stuck on me like that. Because the important part to me is that I'm getting the right treatment. And without the proper diagnosis, you can't get the right treatment. You treat depression differently than you treat bipolar, and you treat both of those very differently than you would treat schizophrenia. So, yeah, obviously, the correct diagnosis is important. Trying to treat social anxiety the same way you would treat generalized anxiety, I can tell you from experience, it doesn't work because it's not the same. It's different stimuli in your brain causing much of the same reactions from both your mind and your body, but it's different triggers and different thought patterns and different treatment. And the same goes with the difference between depression and bipolar disorder. Treating me with only the antidepressant, once that actually started to work, then the hypomania started to kick in. And I can't say it's been all bad. Just the fact that I'm able to put a computer on my desk right now shows you just how clean my room has gotten. But certainly some parts of it were very distressing, such as when I just felt as if I was going to explode. I kind of felt like I just wanted to rip my skin off, and that's a bit of intrusive thought sneaking in there, I think. And so adding the mood stabilizer, in theory it should help. It hasn't been really long enough for me to tell you, oh yes, this definitely works. And another thing about treating, the difference between treating depression and bipolar, is depression can be lifelong or chronic, but it's not always. Sometimes people, and again, speaking from experience, people will try to treat a situation. For example, someone I know became very depressed because his wife was very ill, and that's that is situational. It's not going to have the same treatment as something that's just chronic for no external reason. And I think with depression, a lot of people want to just assume that it's a situation and believe that it'll go away in time. And that's just not always going to happen. There are factors that are just completely in your mind. And so you can suffer from just lifelong chronic depression. And bipolar disorder, from what I understand, is not going to be situational. It's going to be, there's a chemical imbalance in your brain that's making you feel the way you do. And it's a different chemical imbalance than what's going to cause unipolar depression. And so it needs to be treated differently. I can't only treat my depression. I have to look at the hypomanias and learn how to control them and not let them get too out of hand. And hypomania, especially if you leave it unchecked, it can sometimes just grow into a full-out mania, which is really not something I want. So, I want to keep an eye on this. And if that means getting the label bipolar, I don't see how that's a problem as long as I'm getting the treatment I need.